Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News. I am Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Press Secretary Buleni Siyum said that no enough attention is being paid from the international community to people affected by the invasion of the terrorist group TPLF in Afar and Amhara regional states. Ranwork Anna reports.
According to her, overabundant rhetoric is coming back again and again that assistance is only needed for Tigray region, which is not the case.
The escalation of the conflict by the TPLF into the Amhara region has displaced more than 1.1 million people in the region. The IDPs are mainly from Wagamra, North Gondar, South Gondar, Central Gondar, North Wallo, South Wallo, North Showa zones of the region, and Walqaita Zagade. Currently, at the Amhara regional level, more than 5.6 million people have been affected by the conflict, and emergency food assistance by the government, partners, local community, as well as private sector actors is being facilitated.
The press secretary stated in the Afar region, the affected population is estimated to be more than 260,000 and the displaced persons 100,000. Nevertheless, this data will no doubt increase considering the attacks of TPLF that had been waged on people of Afar in the couple of weeks. Regarding provision of support to the region, the federal government and the National Disaster Risk Management Commission, together with the regional counterparts and partners, are mobilizing resources to the IDPs in the region. It was learned that the Ethiopian government and partners have distributed over 36,000 quintals of food for more than 235,000 displaced peoples as of October 21, 2021. With the specifics to humanitarian assistance to Tigray region, the United Nations Air Service flight has resumed to Mekelle since November 23, 2021. Since then, 2 rounds of flight have been conducted through UN air flight, and an estimated 40 million birr has been transported to Mekelle for administration and program budgetary expenditures. Some 353 trucks carrying humanitarian supplies are also currently headed to Tigray regional state from Amhara, Afar region through Abala road, carrying more than 9,600 metric tons of food and 1,800 metric tons of non-food items. According to Buleni, a total of 160 trucks have already reached Mekelle town over the past days. The press secretary noted that on the current peace and security situation, she said there is no doubt that Ethiopia is engaged in conflict with the belligerent TPLF terrorist organization that has been employing playbook terrorist tactics in some pockets. It is erroneous to portray that the entire country has been engulfed in all-out civil war. The Ethiopian government refutes fear and panic mongering about the situation in Addis Ababa and the country. She stressed, adding that such claims are irresponsible and unnecessary. It is extremely disappointing that some key partners have been taking the lead here and encouraging and mobilizing other partners to further intensify rhetoric of doom. Buleni noted, creating atmosphere of fear and security for political purpose is unacceptable. She revealed that the government of Ethiopia has achieved massive military victory over the TPLF group and regained control of various areas over the past few days.
The Ethiopian defense forces have launched a counter-offensive on the terrorist organization, and the Prime Minister is now leading this from the front. His decision to join the army in the battlefield does not mean a change on the government's principled position of a peaceful solution to this conflict. Rather, averting the conspiracy of terrorist organizations working in collaboration with their foreign allies is a threat to the constitutional order of the state. His decision has inevitably boosted troop morale and emboldened the people of Ethiopia to unite and to resist and to push back the threat of the terrorist organization. In the past few days alone, great strides have been made in forcing the TPLF to relinquish their occupation of key areas, particularly Kasagita, Chifra, Burqa, and the advance on the Mille front in the Afar region by the terrorist forces, which was aimed at choking off the entire country from the main corridor for goods entering into the country, has also successfully been thwarted, with further advances being made by government forces as we speak.
Commenting on the disinformation campaign being waged by the TPLF, she said the social media platforms are silencing pro-Ethiopian voices and trying to bring regime change. In social media, we particularly believe that Twitter is targeting and suspending pro-Ethiopian voices that are raising awareness about the TPLF atrocities. However, Ethiopians in the diaspora have continued raising their voices united.
According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the diplomatic efforts being exerted by the government to inform the world about the situation in Ethiopia have been successful. Fukradi Zaudu tells us more.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Minister of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Dina Mufti said there are challenges on Ethiopia's national security from some corners. According to him, there were misrepresentation of what Ethiopia was doing by way of defending its sovereignty and territorial integrity, particularly during the law and order enforcement operation that has been undergoing for several months. The terrorist group also misrepresented the efforts that Ethiopia has been undertaking so as to create conducive atmosphere for the relief supplies in the affected areas, particularly in the northern part of the country, including Tigray, Amhara, and Afar regions. The spokesperson said although there have been massive aid and massive support inflows made by the government of Ethiopia to these affected regions, some corners look away from these efforts. Furthermore, Dina stated that another pressure emanates from the negotiations around the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
The diplomatic efforts being undertaken by Ethiopia so as to one, inform the rest of the world on the law enforcement operations. Ethiopia's effort has been successful. Some corners have already realized it and are giving relentless support to it as well. That is why taking Ethiopian issues to the UN Security Council Forum has not been successful. Taking the issue of the GERD negotiation to that forum is also not successful yet. And it's being dealt under the auspices of the African Union.
Speaking about the recently leaked video showing Western diplomats and a leader of the terrorist group TPLF discussing plans to overthrow the democratically elected government, Dina underscored that this is behind door conspiracy against the constitutionally elected government in the country. According to the spokesperson, this is against the UN and AU Charter and all rules and regulations governing international relations. As to him, it is an act that should be condemned.
This is a behind-door conspiracy against constitutionally elected government in the country. This is an unconstitutional act, illegal act, aimed at overthrowing a constitutional and legal government of the nation. This is a gross interference in the internal affairs of a sovereign country. This is against the UN Charter, it's against the African Charter, is against all rules and regulations governing international relations. And it's an act that should be condemned. It's an act that should be abhorred.
Dina said that Ethiopians at home are massively rising up to defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country, and this gives strength to Ethiopia's diplomatic efforts abroad. He noted that this has given Ethiopia an image of visibility, that Ethiopia is a very strong country, and added that Ethiopian diplomacy could be strengthened in such manner. The spokesperson said that however, there are some limitations that should be overcome, and works have been underway to upgrade diplomatic activities.
Perhaps in the recent history of the Ethiopian diaspora movement abroad, this is unprecedented, this is huge, this is great, by way of supporting Ethiopian unity and territorial integrity. And this diaspora movement, particularly the recent movement in nearly 25 cities in Europe and North America by the Ethiopian diaspora, together with the friends of Ethiopia from neighboring countries like Eritrea and Somalia, has been huge. And this is an activity that its momentum should be maintained for the sake of strengthening this nation. It's a big asset in our diplomatic relationship. It's a big asset in our domestic efforts at strengthening our cohesion as well. It creates a very cohesive, strong society. In fact, you can earn the respect of the international community with such a solid gesture.
He applauded the role of the Ethiopian diaspora and Friends of Ethiopia for their effort in denouncing external interference in the internal affairs of the country and misrepresenting the situation in the country. Dina stressed that these activities should be maintained for the sake of strengthening these nations. Moreover, he indicated that the participation of legendary popular individuals in these activities gives impetus and urged others to support it.
The prominent Ethiopian athlete Haile Gebrselassie has urged black people to join the #NoMore campaign against neocolonialism. Abebe Brhani has the details.
He added that Ethiopians at the moment are fighting the neocolonialism mentality and principle. Speaking to Ethiopian news agency, the athlete said some Western countries are interfering in the internal affairs of Ethiopia by taking democracy, humanity and other issues as cover. He said those powers are interfering in the internal affairs of Ethiopia to impose their interest and neocolonialist agenda in the name of democracy and other issues, adding that Ethiopians are currently fighting against neocolonialism.
At the moment, as you know, we Ethiopians are fighting this neocolonialism mentality or principle, whatever.
According to Haile, the current problem in Ethiopia is an internal one that could be solved by Ethiopians. The athlete noted that the West must understand that interfering in Ethiopia and trying to impose their interest is unacceptable.
A country who is interfering their agenda through Ethiopia and whatever, it doesn't work. They have to know that. Maybe they will kill us. They will destroy us. They will do anything what they want, but they cannot impose or they cannot implement their agenda, what they wish, what they want.
Haile stated Ethiopians have been facing similar problems over the years, adding that under such circumstances, they first fight the external enemy and return to solve their internal problems by themselves. He explained that it is why Ethiopians across the globe are voicing their opposition against Westerner intervention in their internal affairs through the slogan "No More." The celebrated athlete and businessman appreciated African brothers and friends of Ethiopia for joining the #NoMore to show their solidarity with Ethiopians in the fight against foreign intervention and undue pressure on Ethiopia. He called on Africans and other friends of Ethiopia who have not joined the No More campaign so far to join the movement and fight neocolonialism under the disguise democracy.
We Ethiopians are fighting with that. I call upon all those Africans and the black people, or the people who had just this problem before. Please join us this No More campaign. We have to say no more, because how many countries are going to destabilize, just because of this democracy, whatever.
He also expressed his disappointment with those countries which are trying to evacuate their citizens from their embassies in Addis Ababa when there is no danger or threat.
I want to ask, just those countries who is trying to evacuate, their people from the embassy or from their offices, whatever. As a brother and sister, as a country who had a relationship for many years, you don't expect it. You don't expect. Even if you have a problem, even if there is a problem here, how can you live, just your brother and sister like this way?
A former European diplomat, Simo Parvenin, has criticized some media outlets in the West for disseminating wrong and absolutely biased information about the current situation in Ethiopia. Zaman Mekonnen has the details.
In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Parvenin said some Western media outlets have been engaged in disseminating wrong and biased information since the conflict has started in Ethiopia.
Mostly Western media or the international media is based in Nairobi, They don't know the Ethiopian situation. They have been reporting it wrong, and they have kind of like taken the disinformation that the TPLF has fed into them, and then it has become the prevailing narrative, and this has been going on for months and months.
This biased media reports about Ethiopia is misleading the global audience, he said, indicating that the European Parliament has been completely misinformed about the nature of the conflict, and they made resolution on Ethiopia based on faulty and very biased information.
European Parliament has been completely misinformed about the nature of the conflict, and they made resolution condemning Ethiopia based on very faulty information and very biased information.
According to him, the media organizations, for some reason, are not willing to refrain from such narrative.
Unfortunate reason also is that global audiences don't know what is going on in Ethiopia, what kind of society is, what kind of history it has. So this kind of sloppy and biased and wrong media narrative can be very easily given to people, and then they take it as a truth.
He further stressed the need to enhance ongoing efforts to provide accurately and factual information by the Ethiopian side about the existing reality on the ground, particularly how the conflict started and the massacres committed by the agents of the terrorist TPLF in Maikadra and other places. The former European diplomat further indicated the fact that currently this truth about Ethiopia is coming out. It is to be recalled that the Ethiopian Media Authority recently issued warning letters to Reuters, BBC, CNN, and Associated Press for manufacturing and disseminating of false news and a news analysis on Ethiopia to assist the TPLF's objectives. These media outlets are some of the mainstream news organizations that have been disseminating news that sowed seeds of animosity among people and compromised sovereignty of the country.
That's all the news we have for today. I am Gaila Damu. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.